Imagine this. You've just finished a shift, maybe it's late, and you see a colleague, someone you normally respect, behaving inappropriately with a vulnerable patient.
Mm.
Your immediate instinct, just screams at you, stop this, act now. But in that fog of the moment, a really high-stakes question hits you.
Who do you call?
Exactly. What's the right door to go to? Is it MASH? Is it LADO?
Okay.
Do you just, I don't know, email your consultant and just hope they see it in the morning?
In that split-second decision,
Yeah.
that is where real professional knowledge is tested. You're right, the stakes are just immense. In safeguarding, picking the wrong path, or even a tiny delay, it could risk that patient's safety.
And your own professional standing.
And critically, it could mean you're failing your fundamental duty under GMC guidance.
That hesitation, that cognitive load of trying to match a really stressful situation to a complex acronym, that's exactly what we want to strip away today. We're doing a deep dive into that whole alphabet soup of multi-agency safeguarding roles, MASH, LADO, MARAC, and MAPPA. We're not just memorizing definitions, are we?
No, not at all. We are pulling out the high-yield insights directly from core SJT textbooks and key GMC anchor points. The goal is to give you an operational framework to act promptly, correctly, and, crucially, lawfully.
So we're essentially finding the shortcut.
We are. The mission today is to give you that framework, that synthesis of how to raise concerns, act on risks, and share information without getting tripped up. We want to remove the guesswork when you're under pressure.
Okay, so if we had to boil this entire deep dive down to one single takeaway, what would it be?
It's three things, really. One process, refer to the right multi-agency route and do it fast. Share information lawfully, just what's necessary, and meticulously document and escalate every single step. Get that process right, and you've done your duty.
Okay, let's unpack that. Multi-agency cooperation. Honestly, it can feel like a lot of bureaucracy.
Right.
Why is it so important? Why can't I, as the clinician on the ground, just handle it myself or send an internal email?
Because the risk, it's never in a single silo. That's the whole principle. Multi-agency safeguarding is built on the hard-learned lesson that no single agency, not health, not the police, not social services, ever has the whole picture.
Ah, I see.
So it's about coordinated work between the statutory partners. In the UK, that's your local authority, the local NHS body, the ICB, and the police.
So if I send a concern to the wrong place, it could just bounce around for days while harm is still happening, all because the right people weren't there to connect the dots.
Precisely. And that is exactly why the SJT rewards this specific knowledge. The scoring logic isn't just about action, it's about the correct formal action. You score highest by picking the right mechanism and then backing it up by sharing information lawfully.
Proportionate disclosure.
Exactly. And you mentioned a concept earlier from the sources, organizational memory. That sounds a bit jargony, but it's vital for scoring high.
So what does it actually mean in practice?
It's about creating a clear, robust, auditable trail. Timely escalation, detailed records. It lets the whole system learn, track the issue over time, and put proper protective measures in place. If your action isn't formally recorded and escalated, it basically disappears. It gets lost.
So an email that just sits in an inbox doesn't count?
Not at all. The best options reduce the immediate risk, yes, but they also activate the right formal system. Ad hoc emails or phone calls. That's where marks are lost, every time.
Okay, that makes sense. So that brings us to the core framework. If we need to activate the right system, we have to know the four doors, the four MINs. Let's start with MASH.
Right. MASH is the multi-agency safeguarding hub. You should think of it as the single dedicated front door for any new safeguarding concerns, primarily for children, but it's increasingly for adults too.
And why is it set up like that? A single front door?
To break down those information silos we talked about. Before MASH, a child might be known to the police for one thing, to health for another, and social services for something else.
And no one was talking to each other.
Exactly. No one connected the facts. MSH pools that data from all partners instantly to see if a full child protection referral is needed. It stops that critical data fragmentation.
Got it. Central front door for new risks. So if MAH is the external door, LADO feels more like a really critical internal alarm bell.
That's a great way to put it. LADO, the local authority designated officer, is triggered by something very specific. Any allegation or concern about someone in a position of trust who works with children.
And position of trust means any staff member, doctor, volunteer, anyone.
Anyone. The moment a staff member is the focus of the concern, you have to think LADO.
So I don't go to Melody first if I see a colleague acting inappropriately with a child. I go to LADO. And what's the timeline on that?
It's incredibly strict. The expectation is you must notify the LADO through your senior manager or named professional within 1 working day of the concern being raised.
1 working day.
It's non-negotiable. When a trusted professional is the alleged source of harm, any delay is a catastrophic failure of your duty.
Right. Okay, moving on to MARAC. This one's for a very specific high-risk group.
It is. MARAC is the Multi-Agency Risk Assessment Conference. It is reserved exclusively for high-risk domestic abuse cases. The trigger is standardized across the UK. You have to identify the risk using a recognized tool.
And that's the DS tool.
Primarily the DHS risk assessment. That's domestic abuse, stalking, harassment, and honor-based violence.
So if I just suspect domestic abuse, I can counsel the patient and document it. But if I suspect high risk, I use the DSH tool. And if that score hits the threshold,
That immediately triggers a MARAC referral. That's the critical difference. MARAC is where housing, police, health, and specialist services all come together to coordinate a safety plan for the victim and any children. Your job is to triage that risk correctly with DSH.
okay. And finally, MARAC.
MSRA is the Multi-Agency Public Protection Arrangements. It's the framework for managing certain violent or sexual offenders living in the community.
So as a clinician, I wouldn't be calling them directly?
Probably not. But you might be required to contribute information. Your action is to go through your organization's MPA lead or single point of contact at the SBOC. You're ensuring the health perspective on risk is part of the official plan.
Knowing the doors is step one. But in a crisis, speed and sequence matter. We need a set of actions that guarantees we hit all those high-scoring points for being prompt and documenting properly.
Absolutely. The sources outline a very clear structure. We can call it the first, next, last approach. It shows you're acting fast but also following policy.
Okay, lay it out for us. Exam speed.
Right. First, match the concern to the correct forum. MAH, LADO, MARAC, MAPPA, no hesitation. Next, consult seniors and named professionals early. This is for your own safety and for proper escalation. Then, share information proportionately. Prioritize safety, even if it means acting without consent as long as you have a lawful basis. Refer. Submit a clear, evidence-based referral using tools like Diacode. And last, record everything. The chronology, your rationale, the outcomes. That's your audit trail.
That sequence, under the stress of, say, an allegation against a colleague, that's a lot to remember. We need a memory hook.
We do, and we've derived one from the sources that's simple and covers every step. DORS.
DOORS. Okay, let's walk through it.
So D is for determine the correct forum. That's your first big decision. O is for obtain senior support immediately. Never go it alone.
Okay.
The second O is for offer withhold consent safely. And you document your rationale if you have to share without it. R is for refer with the right tools, like the DASH evidence. And finally, S is for summarize in the records. That's how you create that vital organizational memory.
And this is where it gets really tricky, I think. Lawful information sharing. Your duty to safeguard can feel like it's clashing head-on with your duty of confidentiality. How do we stop ourselves from, freezing up, scared of breaching confidence?
This is that classic ethical crossroads, isn't it? But the GMC guidance is our anchor here. When safety is demonstrably at stake, when there is a real risk of serious harm, you can share information without consent.
And what's the test for that?
The key test is whether getting consent would actually increase the risk to the patient, or if it's just not practical to get it in time.
And the professional safeguard is always documentation.
Always. You must share the minimum necessary information to protect them, and you must document your clear legal or professional reason for overriding confidentiality. If you don't write down that rationale, you've gone from lawful sharing to a potential professional breach.
Okay, let's do a quick test on that. This is a common pattern. An adult patient, victim of high-risk domestic abuse, you've done the DAS score, it's positive, and they have kids. What's first? MASH, LADO, or MARAC?
That's a brilliant question because it mixes the risks. The answer is you have to prioritize the highest, most immediate and specific threat. Here, that positive DS rate score screams ARASHI.
So you start the MRS referral.
Immediately. But because there are dependent children, you also have to think about them. So the highest scoring action is to initiate that MARAC referral and consult with the named professional for safeguarding children to make sure marriage is also informed. You activate both agencies.
Right, so it's not always just one door. That highlights the danger of simplistic thinking. Okay, let's talk traps. The easy but wrong answers.
Any action that suggests delay is a trap. So for an allegation against a colleague, ask the alleged staff member first is a catastrophic failure.
Right.
It risks interference, compromises the investigation, and it completely bypasses your mandatory duty to notify LADO.
What about misusing confidentiality?
Yep. An option like avoid sharing any details due to strict confidentiality is always wrong. It misunderstands your legal and professional obligation to put safety first when harm is imminent. Another trap is trying to keep it local.
Like email the departmental rota coordinator and wait.
Exactly. That just delays activating the correct, formal, multi-agency mechanism. It's an ad hoc email instead of a proper safeguarding referral.
So we need some model phrases in our heads, things that show we know what we're doing.
Absolutely. Focus on phrases that link your assessment tool to your action. Something like, the -H assessment indicates high risk, so I am making a MARAC referral today, safety planning with the patient, and documenting the lawful basis for sharing.
And for LADO.
For LADO, it's, given this specific allegation against a colleague, I'm contacting my consultant and the named professional right now to ensure LADO is notified within 1 working day. These phrases show awareness, speed, and formal compliance all at once.
This has been an incredibly practical deep dive into what can be a really challenging area. Let's boil it back down to the 3 core takeaways that you need to carry forward.
First, always pick the correct multi-agency door. Know the triggers for the Form is on LADO for staff allegations, MARAS for high-risk domestic abuse, MAH as the front door for new child concerns, and MAPPA for those specific high-risk offenders.
Second, always share proportionately. If you have to breach confidentiality to protect someone, you must record your clear legal basis for doing so.
And third, escalate early. Consult your named professionals and critically use that DORS framework to document everything: chronology, rationale, outcomes. That's your organizational memory.
So we've established the golden rule is right door, plus lawful sharing, plus robust documentation, which leads to our final thought for you to consider.
We often focus on the act of making the referral itself, but I want you to think about this. If the referral is the mechanism that activates the protection, why is the quality of your documentation sometimes the most critical piece of that entire safeguarding jigsaw long after the referral has been sent?
Something to mull over as you apply this knowledge. For more structured learning and MSRA revision resources, make sure you visit passthemsra.com. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into multi-agency safeguarding roles.